Welcome to pattern making class. This is Annette Julie, and we are working on your trouser pant draft design details, and we are on part 2 of the cuff. So we have drafted the cuff from the leg opening down. We went down 1.5 inches for the back of the cuff, 1.5 inches for the front of the cuff, and 1 inch for the hem allowance, less than the cuff height. Then we folded this up where the back of the cuff, we don't want to see it. The front we do. And the hem gets tucked under. So that was the front leg, here's the back leg. Again, here's the back of the cuff, we're going to fold that up. The front we want to see. And the hem we tuck inside the leg opening. Now we need to transfer the side seam down onto the cuff. We had already tapered the leg and brought that in, so I'm going to just draw that line to match it. That's what the leg opening looks like now. But a cuff, you want it to stick out, so let's have it go out 1/8 of an inch at the top folded edge, so that when you have the cuff on the leg opening, it will not form a dent on the leg opening and it will not collapse it. So now we have angled our cuff out. That's 1/8. We've gone out 1/8 of an inch. Now we're going to use our tracing wheel and go through the cuff down to the leg opening, from the extended cuff down to the leg opening. Now let's open up our pattern. It shows us where to go ahead and connect everything now. And also, we want to bring the hem in. Here's the hem line. We're going to bring that in a little bit because it's going to go inside. So bring that in. Here's the hem line. Bring that in about 1/8 of an inch as well. Then you can add seam allowance, and you can cut that out. There's our seam allowance on the outside of the cuff. Let's go ahead and cut through all those layers, just so we can see what it looks like. That looks great. Let's go ahead and give it some notches. Okay, we do the same steps to the back. But you have some other options with your cuff. If you're using a flimsy fabric, you might choose to interface the front of the cuff, the front and the back, or the entire thing. Okay? So I think I'm just going to choose to do the cuff itself and not the hem. Let me go ahead and get a piece of paper. I'm going to go ahead and draw a little template right here. This cuff itself, without the seam allowance, without the hem allowance, is 3 inches. So this should fit nicely. Good, and it does. So let me go ahead and trim that, and then we'll fix the edges. And this is going to be my interfacing piece. And I could, if I was using this on the front, of course I would use this on the back as well. This is to add structure to your cuff, to have it stand up and be stiff on the edge of the folded fabric. Let's go ahead and put this underneath, lining it up with the line that I drew. There we go, right in the middle. On one side, let's line it up on the other. Let's weight that down, and I'm going to copy off the angle. This has a seam allowance in it. Please, when you make interfacing, include the seam allowance. Do not trim that area away. That's not how it's done in the industry. We need to make it matching, not smaller. Now we're cutting out our interfacing pattern piece. And we can add a grain line on it. And this is going to be my cuff interfacing. But if I'm working with interfacing, I need my red pen. Cuff interfacing, and this is going to be a cut 2. Also, this is my front. And since you've copied this with the seam allowance, go ahead and show yourself that it's here. You've got that on the edges. And I did not put it, the interfacing, down into the hem. That will allow for a crisp turn back. Also too, if you need to score the top of the fold line for the interfacing for the cuff, you can fold it. This is just a little trick if you feel like doing it, and cut out some very long and narrow pieces right on the edge of that fold. And you would be doing this with your actual interfacing piece. And this just helps you to have more of a crease line when you're developing your hem. And you can see here I've just scored the edge if you feel like doing that for your interfacing. Please repeat these steps with your back cuff. This is Annette Julie, and this is the end of your cuff demo for today. Look forward to seeing you in the next demo. Au revoir.